Hey guys, so today we are playing Vamana on Duel. We're up against Skadi, and I'm going to do a comprehensive guide on his abilities, what they do, and how to combo them together. So just for a bit of context, I am a 5-star Vamana. I play him a lot. I am a platinum on Duel, and I've tried and tested almost everything across all over the different seasons, so I have a good idea of what works well and what doesn't. So I watched another YouTuber talk about Vamana's abilities. I thought I should make a comprehensive guide. So on the left hand side of the screen, you can see a summary of his abilities. So his passive, his 1, 2 and 3. I'll talk about his ultimate in a sec, his ability number 4. There you can see the cooldown, the mana cost. Pause it and take a read of that if you want to. But I'll talk about those and how they combo well with each other. I may not talk much about the actual gameplay I'm having against the Skadi. The focus is on Vamana's movesets. So Vamana's passive, 20% of his physical protection, his total physical protection, gets converted into physical power. So that's his base physical protections, any that you build from items, any from any buffs, any from your allies, any physical protection that your allies gives from their items. Any physical protection that gets converted into 20% of it gets converted into physical power. As you can see on the bottom left hand side, there's a number 6 around the little circle. So that's basically how much of his physical protections gets converted into physical power. Now this is an amazing passive, however I don't want you guys to ever focus on it. So never build items just for this passive. The passive's nice, but you never want to focus your build around his passive. I made other videos talking about what items to build on Vamana. Check out those videos on my channel, they're all there. But yeah, so check out those videos if you want to know what to build. His passive's nice, but you don't focus on it, you don't revolve his build around his passive. It's just a nice little addition. Vamana's one ability is a dash. So he runs in straight ahead of him. You can steer this left and right. He knocks up everything that's in front of him or in his path, and he knocks them up in the air. So this ability can't be slowed, however it can be hard CC'd. So it can be stunned by an Anubis drop, it can be disrupted by an Aphrodite's back off, and it can be crippled by a Scylla's root. So it can be hard CC'd, but it can't be slowed. And this ability is fantastic for chasing an enemy, running away from an enemy, or distance closing. I'll talk about when's the best time to use his 1, but it's a very good ability. His 2 is a basic cone in front of him that just damages everything inside the cone. It's an AoE damage ability, pretty straightforward. And his 3, he basically throws a boomerang. So he throws his umbrella as a boomerang. It does damage to everything it hits. It passes through players and minions. And the best thing about his 3 is that it slows enemies' movement speeds and attack speed by 25%. So this is great for slowing them down and basic attacking gods. And the thing about Vamana is his boomerang, it's called umbrella rang. So what it does is it throws it, and once it reaches the max distance away from you, it comes back to you. And while it's coming back to you, it can hit enemy gods again and enemy waves. So whatever damage you see on the left hand side of the screen, double it. So where it says the 50% scaling, if you can hit an enemy god twice, then it's actually 100% scaling, because that's 50 times 2. And the slow stacks on each other. So his 3 is fantastic. That's what makes Vamana a bit tricky to learn at first, because not everyone can land his 3. Because it's not instant, it doesn't instantly hit everything in front of it. It has to travel a bit, so you need to predict it and people can juke it. So you can't just recklessly throw it, and that's the thing that takes a bit of skill to use, apart from his ult. And his ultimate, I'm going to give you a big block of text which describes Vamana's ultimate. So if that text that you can see on the screen now, if that gives you a stroke, then blame Hi-Rez, because that's Hi-Rez's actual description for Vamana's ult. It does so many things and the description is really stupid. So on the screen right now, you can see my description of Vamana's ult, I tried to simplify it, but because there's so much going on, that's the best I can do. You turn into a giant. In that giant form, you can't be CC'd. Player made walls can't stop you either. When Vamana's in his ult form, he can't be peeled, as in there's nothing to support the solo lane. There's nothing anyone can do to stop him from roaming around. The only way to stop him is literally by killing him or by running away. That's the only two things. You move faster than you normally would when you go forwards, backwards, or when you're basic attacking. So the movement speed penalty debuff that you usually would get when you're moving left, right, back, or basic attacking, that gets reduced by 20%. So you can almost move around as fast as you can move forward. This is great for strafing left and right and running rings around your opponent. So he works really well against carries, because carries will tend to miss their basic attacks because you're running rings around them. So that's why he tends to work really well against a lot of carries. You also gain additional power, bulk protections, health regen, and a shield regen on top of any health regen that you already get. With all those booster stats, you can imagine he's really hard to kill whilst he's in his ult form, because you need everything. You need pen, you need anti-heal, you need concise, you just need everything just to kill him whilst he's in his ult. Another thing is, when he's taking damage in his ult, it can last longer, so it can last up to twice as long. I'll show you, I'll mention that later, where I'm in my ult form. It's supposed to last 6 seconds, but because the Skadi is trying to kill me in my ult, it ends up lasting for 12 seconds, so it can last longer. It's not clear how long it can actually last for, but it lasts longer the more players do damage to you. So the counter to Vamana's ult is literally just running away. If he's got Frostbound, then you'll have to literally dash away, or you'll have to leap over a wall, and that's the counter. So now let's talk about how to combine his abilities together. So with Vamana, when you want to fight, what you want to do is you want to approach people without using any abilities, none of your abilities at all, preferably. So the way you would do that is you would approach them whilst they're not expecting it. So if they're in the jungle, then attacking them from behind. If they're focused on the wave, then running to their side and basically attacking them, and that way they have to either turn to you or just take damage. Or if they're in front of you, then you have to zigzag their abilities or their basic attacks, and try to avoid as much of it as you can and just get up close to them. So for this game, I've approached the Skadi after I cleared the wave, and whilst she's still focusing on the wave. So whilst she's basic attacking the wave, I just approach to her side and start basic attacking her. So that's how I've been doing it this game. Once you're in range and you're basic attacking them, you want to throw your 3. So your 3 will slow them for 25% and it will reduce their attack speed. So essentially, if they're an auto attack based guard, that reduces their damage output. So you 3 them and you just box them out using your basic attacks. You would use your 2 for extra damage and for auto cancelling. If you don't know what auto cancelling is, I'd recommend you Google that, you would research that after this video. But it's a high level play where you use your abilities to do more damage for your auto attacks. So whilst you're boxing them out, you would wait for them to either use their ult or their escape. So if they dash away, then chase them with your 1. If they ult, and it's like a high damage ult, like a Skadi, then dash away, and that way you've made her waste her ult, and the next time you can fight her, you can fight her without her ult. So if the Skadi decides not to use her ult, and she uses her 1 to slow me, and she uses her 3 to give herself a movement speed boost, and she's trying to get away, in this case I would use my 1. With Vamana's 1, you move really quickly, and that's how you close the distance. So you'd use your 1 to chase them, and you'd either knock them up with your 1, or you get close and you throw your 3. And that's how you chase them whilst they're running away. So you save your 1 to either chase them or to run away. You use your 3 to trap them and make them choose to fight you. So let's say the Skadi uses her 1 and her 3 to run away, and you were able to catch up to her with your 1, then that's when she has no more escapes, and you would use your ult to basic attack her. You get in your ult form, you basic attack her. At this point you should have hasted or frostbound, so you're either slowing her or you're even much faster than her. and you basic attack her to get your movement speed boost from your ult. And even if she gets her 3 back up again, she still can't escape because you're just way too quick, and you would burst her down. She wouldn't be able to kill you provided you both have the same amount of levels and gold. She shouldn't be able to kill you even in late game whilst you're in your ult form. The best she can do is just run away and tank it. So usually Vamana's ult lasts for 6 seconds, right? So I want you guys to take a look. So I'm going to ult here at 10:35, and because the Skadi's ulted me whilst I'm in my ult form and she's basically attacking me, my ult has stayed longer than 6 seconds, and it's actually stayed till 10:45, so that's about 10 seconds. So it lasted a bit longer because she was damaging me whilst I was using my ult. So it's kind of hard to run up to Skadi and zigzag up to her because of her 3. There's a massive AoE on the floor, so it's hard to run around that. She's also got Calder, which makes it hard to approach her as well, because the dog attacks you, slows you, basic attacks you, takes and body blocks you. So the thing about Skadi is I'm actually a 1-star Skadi myself. I might actually be 2 stars with her. I really enjoy Skadi. I know how to play her, so I know how to play against her too. So it's all about experience. I went for Stonecutter's last item so I can be faster than her, and I went for Frostbound, so once I'm near her, she is, trapped. It's all about learning different matchups. That comes from experience. For example, Set has his move where he can get his clones to poke you out from a distance. So Set can out poke you from a distance and make you low before you even get to him. And once you do get close to him, if you fight against a Set with his ult and you have your ult, he's extremely hard to kill. So with Set, he can out poke you. He can make it hard for you to even get close to him. And once you do get close, he can easily beat you in a dogfight. With mages naturally have a lot of poke, so early game mages do a lot of damage. But once you build like 1 or 2 defense items, the poke won't be enough to burst you down and get you low enough for them to kill you whilst you get there. And as I mentioned, it's all about experience. So in teamfight game modes, so let's say Conquest or Assault or Doused, what you want to do is you want to position yourself on the wings of your team. So what would happen is your support would want to be close to your mage and your ADC, and your assassin would want to be like behind the wall to like either the very left or the very right, waiting to dive, and you want to be on the side, sort of close to your teammates, but at the same time you also want to be at the side, so that way you can approach the enemy ADC or the enemy mage either to their side, so they have to turn and face you, or the enemy support has to turn and face you. Either way, if people are focusing you, then that should give your team an opening to backdive them. Even if they do focus you down, if they're not able to create a distance from their mage or ADC, and if they're not able to create that distance, and you're able to make them use their escapes, then you still chase them with your escapes. And once you can get close to them, the same principle applies. You ult and you try and kill them. And once you get into your ult form, it's so hard to burst you down. As for Vamana, if people are focusing on bursting you down, then your team should be able to take that to their advantage and pick off the enemies whilst they're fighting you. So in team-based game mode, you tend to want to go more defense, but the principle still applies. You want to try and avoid using your abilities to approach the mage or the ADC, and that way you get close to them, you basically attack them, you make them use their escapes, like their dash or their leap. Then once they use that, you then chase them down and you ult them. So it's the exact same as a 1v1. And if the enemy team focuses you, like the support tries to burst you down whilst you're in your ult, then your team should be able to pick off their team, because they're all focusing you. The tank, who's extremely hard to kill in his ult, they're all focused on you, so your team should be able to swoop in and win the team fight, because they're all focused on the the tank. Even if you're playing jungle, same principle applies. You're extremely tough to kill in your ult, even if you go many damage based. As long as you build one defense item, like a mantle or a cat shield or a sledge, or even a frostbow, if you build one defense item, then you'll be extremely hard to kill in your ult. Because remember, you get protections, you get health and shield regen. And if they focus you down, your team should be able to just burst the enemy team down. So that's going to be the end of the commentary for Vamana's abilities and how to combo them. I'll just talk about this gameplay before I wrap things up. This Skadi is quite unfortunate because I really enjoy playing Skadi. I know her moves, I know when to use them, and I'm also a 5-star Vamana, and I've played Skadis on duel before, so I've got quite a bit of experience, so I was able to work well there. I ended up getting Death's Temper and I ended up getting hasted at the end. So she wasn't actually able to afford Death's, sorry, not Death's Temper, Death's Embrace. She wasn't able to afford it, so it's basically GG. I'm gonna out-sustain her. She's got Contagion and she's got Toxic Blade, but it's literally not enough. Anti-heal's getting buffed again actually, guys. Like, they're buffing all the anti-heal items again. And I think that's really good. That helps me out, to be fair. So I'm just going to defend this Phoenix, focus on the wave, dash into the Skadi because she used her 3, and it's GG for her. Like, she can't burst me down in my ult, and she already used her 3. She's dead for 33 seconds, and I've already got the Phoenix, so I should just be able to get the enemy Titan here, or the Skadi's Titan. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. The reason why I like making Vamana videos so much is because when I first tried to learn him, it was hard to find content for him. So I hope you guys have had a lot of use from this. Please like this video and subscribe if you want to see more content. I will upload other gods, and leave a comment if you have any thoughts, because I will appreciate them. And I will see you guys for the next video. Bye.